So yeah. I'm here today with Alex Galick, co-star of Racially Ambiguous Duo. And you're fresh off of getting a certificate for something. What is it?
Stage combat.
Stage combat.
Yeah, there's a Society of Fight Directors, SAFD. They have regular courses and certification tests for certain weapons, and I just got a recommended pass in single sword and unarmed combat.
So do you have to like swing a sword around somebody without hurting them, or how does it work? Like, what?
Yeah. You learn how to work a violence into a scene.
Yeah.
With a weapon in a way that creates the semblance of danger without actual danger.
What did they make you do, or is that giving away too much? Like, what's the?
No. They so there's a certain set amount of or kinds of moves that you're working with for a sword. Parries, blocks, binds.
Yeah.
Stabby stab attacks, this kind of thing.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it's a skill set that you can take.
Did you hit anybody at all? Like, did anybody get?
Not on purpose. No one got hurt.
Yeah.
We had a great time.
Okay.
We had an invited audience. People saw some really great scenes that also had some fantastic fights in them.
Now, will you be employed more as a fight choreographer or as the dude on stage just throwing swords around?
At this point, probably dude on stage throwing swords around.
Oh, okay.
But that's working up to choreographing things is that's on the horizon.
Now, here's the whopper question. You've been to undergrad and grad school for the theater. Why are you just learning this now?
Well, okay, so in grad school, I had
Yeah.
a chance to get certified in rapier dagger and it's just two weapons that you're holding together, as well as unarmed combat. And that was part of my program.
Yeah.
Problem was it was over the summer, and I already had a gig at a Shakespeare festival. So oddly enough, I was swinging a sword at that gig on stage.
Without certification?
Without certification.
How dare you?
I know, I sort of learned on the job. But now that I have the time, and I know that these resources exist outside of a grad school setting, I've jumped into that. And,
Did you go straight into grad school after undergrad?
I did.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it is.
You're insane.
Yes. It's wonky. Going for grad school right out of undergrad means what? You got K through 12 plus the 4 plus 3 more. That's by the time I'm 25, I've been in school most of my life.
Yeah.
All of my life.
All of your life. Almost all of your life. What was there any idea to be like, hey, maybe we need to take a year off and just see the sights, I don't know.
I really did think about it, but when I went into grad school, that was when the Great Recession hit. So I thought, I guess I'll go to school for a couple of years. Looks like pickings is slim.
Yeah. Now you call it the Great Recession. Some people just call it the recession. Why the Great Recession?
Because there hasn't been a cataclysmic economic event like it since the Great Depression.
Oh.
It was this is kind of wonkish, but you had a lot of mortgage debt.
Yeah.
That a lot of people lost their homes.
Yeah.
And unemployment reached high levels that we had not seen since my grandmother was 20. So
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
that's why they call it the Great Recession.
I'm
told.
I give it a big. I don't know about great. The big recession.
I don't
want to say great recession.
Great implies positive somehow.
I think positive, but also huge. When you if it's like an intergalactic movie like The Great War. He died in the great. That sounds like some big lasers and shit, and like ships were coming through and different species were Great Recession. I think it's a big recession.
Well, it did have a great effect. A strong effect on
strong recession.
The strong recession. Yeah, it had a strong effect on our generation, right? The millennials who just came out of college, or were earlier in their careers, just as the recession hit, unable to find jobs and that would help pay for their large amounts of student debt.
Well, what I call that is graduating with a theater degree. So,
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
They call it the Great Recession. I call it welcome to my world. Jesus Christ. I can't find a job. Yeah, that's what this is like.
It's where every degree is like a theater degree.
Jeez. Somebody graduated with a PhD or a graduate degree in psychology. And I was like, what'd you graduate with? Like psychology. I was like, that's okay. Because psychology is anything. Like it can be absolutely anything. Like okay. Like,
Okay.
And I know somebody watching this right now is going to be like, you asshole, how dare you?
You've gotten into their head.
Yeah, that, but also they're more employable than a theater degree. So think about that. Okay, so when did you get into theater? Or when did you get into acting?
Oh man. So like the first show I ever did was in like second grade.
Oh, what was it?
It was some sort of, it was like a second grade play where I played some sort of woodcutter or something like that.
You're a woodcutter.
Yeah, it wasn't a Broadway production by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay.
I had one line, so that was the first stage production that I ever did, and then fast forward to high school, the second production I ever did was a short play called Miss Twiddle and the Devil.
Miss Twiddle and the
Miss
Devil.
Twiddle and the Devil. I played the devil.
But getting nice. But getting into it all, like, what was like were you just like, cool, I like that, like?
Yeah, I played soccer in middle school and high school, and I got a hairline fracture in my ankle, and
sorry, go on.
it meant that I couldn't like run, like I walked and it hurt.
Damn.
So I was like, sorry, coach, I think I'm done for the rest of the season. So I was like, I got to find something else to do.
Yeah.
And I had sung in choirs, throughout school, and a bunch of my friends were in theater.
Yeah.
So I saw a musical. I was like, that looks fun. I could do that. Yeah. So then I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna try this stage thing and see what it's like. I did that Miss Twiddle and the Devil show, and I found that it was pretty enjoyable, and I liked it, and kind of went from there. And that was kind of the beginning of my upward trajectory into theater, into performing.
And
acting.
But playing the woodcutter in second grade, wasn't there something that sparked there as well?
No, it was like mandatory fun.
It was mandatory, okay, all right, this makes sense.
It was like everyone in second grade had a role in this production, and we all had at least one line. And it was like for our parents with their camcorders, with the VHS tapes in them at the time, so they could record them and then, like accidentally write them over later and feel bad about it. Oh no. That was just like, oh, second grade. Step here, do this.
Okay,
Great, fine,
okay.
yeah.
So, but Miss Twiddle and the Devil. So that's what got you really going.
I mean, so I did the show, and the director of the high school theater program there saw it and was like, hey, I really liked what you did. I want you to act more on stage in our productions. I was like, yeah, it'd be great. I would love that. So I ended up getting cast in a couple of these other shows, like, I think I did Oklahoma.
Oh, nice.
I know.
Did you some Oklahoma?
I know. And then like a couple other smaller plays. I forget what they were. Oklahoma's the one that comes to mind. But I just remember this high school theater director being this really happy, really ebullient guy who just like loved, his laughter and his joy was infectious, and I wanted to be around people like that.
Yeah.
So I think it was this personality that I was like, man, this guy's having a blast, and I want to have a blast too. So I'm gonna do this theater thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's individuals, mentors, teachers. It just sort of happened that at that time I was exploring this theater thing and found a great mentor.
That's weird. When I started theater, it was one of two different types of adults. One, they were all usually white. Two, they were either really soft with you and like, hey, we're just gonna take this script, and we're gonna basically just let's walk through it, or they were like, just like insane, like just like because I started off doing fight choreography.
Like manic insane or
Well, it would be, why don't you know your lines? Why don't you know your lines? You know, they were like gymnast coaches, gymnastic coaches. But that, I mean, I got into it because I saw, well, one, I had a crush on Christina Ricci when I was 13 after I saw Casper, Friendly Ghost. I don't think it was 13, I think it was 9 or something. And I said, Mom, I want to do that. And she's like, okay, well, let's do it. And then as we're pulling up to like the joint to do it, like to like go do like theater, I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Get me out of here.
So you had cold feet?
Oh man, I was scared to death. Like to have to talk in front of like, I mean, first off, I think this has something to do with it. It was a ballet room. It's full of white kids from like ages like 6 to like 12. So you had some like really small bodies in there and some really big kids. And I was somewhere in between. And I was like, what the flip is this, man? Like, and like, I got made fun of a little bit because who's darky, you know, like, and it's just like, I don't know these kids. If I don't have to deal with them, I don't want to be here. But then we got through it. And like the final performance, we did King Lear, and we like threw punches and like slaps and kicks. And I remember the audience being, and I was just so empowered. I was like, yeah, they really think I'm kicking his ass, and he's kicking my ass. And that was
it's
a lot of fun.
It's so satisfying to have that emotional influence on these people who are watching this show. And these characters don't exist.
No, they don't. No.
But like
you can walk right away from it.
Yeah.
You can be like, I'm out of here.
But like, you know, people see that and they're like, oh my God, what's going on? I am so scared for this character right now.
Yeah.
It's so amazing to have that power.
To have an immediate investment put into your work.
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, immediate feedback, right?
Yeah. No, that's definitely an empowering aspect of it. So from there on, you wanted to be part of this jovial group.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time in theater where you were like, I'm done. I don't know if I really, not I'm done, but maybe I'm questioning what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. You know, I had sort of ridden this arc up to grad school.
Yeah.
And after grad school, I was like, what now?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, you're like staring at the abyss, and it's like, how do I?
Why don't they all want me?
Why don't they all want
I just
me?
finished grad school, damn
Right?
it.
You know, because academic theater is very different from, you know, the outside world.
Oh yeah.
And I had been living in academic theater for so long that I was like, oh, of course, they're doing a production. They can cast me. Yeah, I'll be XYZ character.
Yeah.
You know, I was working in with a captive audience, with in an artificial situation, in an artificial casting situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of a rude awakening to be like, oh, this is a real world now. There's the, you know, these shows go on with or without you.
Yeah.
You're you know, vying for these spots.
Yeah, you don't go to the bulletin board at like the theater hall and like, I'm gonna sign up for that one.
No, you don't. Definitely don't. So, you know, after grad school, I sort of had a little difficulty like getting roles and getting gigs. You know, there was little film roles here and there. So I went to grad school, Louisiana State University.
Yeah.
3-year program, and at the time, the film industry was growing.
Yeah, it's in Louisiana.
Yeah. So there were all these like, you know, 21 Jump Street was filming there, and like Pitch Perfect was there. I have friends who are in Pitch Perfect.
Okay.
And I'm just like, whoa, Shelley Regner making it big, you know.
Yeah.
So like, you know, those things are going on, and I'm like, I can get these roles, but you know, it's not always up to you.
No, it's not. It really isn't.
So that was kind of like a moment. Now, so I lived in Baton Rouge for another year after grad school.
Yeah.
And I got cast in shows up here in the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
There's the great Theater Moo, Asian American theater company, biggest one in the Midwest. You know, they kept casting me in shows, and the commute
Is the biggest Asian American theater company in the
in
Midwest?
the Midwest,
Oh,
biggest
I was
Asian
gonna say
American theater company.
Who's the biggest in the country?
It might be East West Players or My Yi. It's the one in New York. I think it's My Yi. But East West Players is the oldest, I believe.
Yeah. East West Players sounds like almost like, you know, like it could be one of two things, like a group of geriatric, like, you know, like veterans, or like, you know, a very like antiquated like group of black men in Harlem that, you know, are responsible for like a lot of like syndicated crime. Like East West Players.
It's a very open-ended
Never
name.
heard of them.
Oh, jeez.
I like the name though, East West
Yeah,
Players.
but they've been kind of defining themselves as they move forward. You know, they were founded by, you know, Mako and some of these great Asian American actors.
Yeah.
You know, who've worked on stage and screen. And it's exciting to see the work that they're creating and hear in the Twin Cities what Theater Mu is creating as well.
Yeah.
It's you know where East meets West, but also specific to the Midwest,
Yeah.
which is different than either the coasts.
Oh goodness. Oh god.
You know.
Yeah.
So it has a niche here, and it's been an artistic home for me ever since I moved back to the Twin Cities, and you know they do great work there. Randy Reyes, their director, is always making exciting work.
He is. Yeah. I mean, yeah. He does some bold moves. He's a ballsy guy.
He is.
When he became director of Theater Mu, he came out swinging with the first production, which was like, it was something just like very physical. It was, I forget what it was. Wasn't it zombies versus?
Kung Fu Zombies versus Cannibals.
And I was like, sir, how long are you looking to stay in this company? Because you might be gone tonight. But that was a bold move. Like not a lot of people do that, like right off the bat.
Yeah.
So you talk about Asian American theater and being a part of it. Has it ever waned upon you playing white roles as an Asian American? Or white characters?
Or characters that are not specifically Asian.
Yeah.
I mean,
Has that ever been an issue?
you know, I've been casted as a lot of Asian characters.
Okay.
But like, since I've worked a lot with Mu, with Theater Mu, you know, we've done productions of Shakespeare, productions of you know Sondheim musicals that don't specifically have Asian characters in them, played by Asian actors. So, you know, I've been in those situations. Those are, I think, different from like standard normal productions.
Yeah.
So that's been mostly my experience of being cast as non-white actors. But you know, I noticed that in film specifically, they're looking for diversity. They're looking for you know, characters that don't look like your standard white characters.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just did this horror film up in northern Minnesota called The Harbinger. I think that's a working title. Well, we'll see what, you know, these things change.
Yeah.
But they had originally cast me as this character called Gary Wong. It's a very specific, you know, Asian name.
Yeah.
And we had talked about, you know, the character name. They'd originally wanted to cast another actor as this, but that actor wasn't available. So they needed, the character is a sales manager who is the manager of the main character. And I was like, okay, I'm an actor and I do sales as my day job.
Yeah.
So I bring that to the table, did the audition, and you know, they brought me in. We had a little talk about the last name.
Yeah.
Because
How did you bring that out?
well, the director actually brought it up.
Okay, good.
Will Clipstein. He's a great guy who he is, the actor, the writer, the director, and a producer on this thing.
Good luck.
And I don't think I ever saw him sit down in all the days I was there on set. So
goodness.
that man has a well of energy that he's just sitting on. I don't know what his secret is, but
Goodness.
yeah, amazing dude. So he brought it. He brought it up with me. It was like, okay, well, Wong. So Alex, what's your ethnicity? I was like, okay, well, I'm Filipino. I'm Italian. I'm Slovak. Let's find a name that works with this character. Well, my last name is Galick, which is a Slovak last name. So I was like, okay, thinking of let me think. Give me a day, Will. I'm gonna get a name for you. So I was like taking a day to think about it, and I was like, okay, well, my last name is Galick. It's an Eastern European. It's a Central Eastern European name, and people don't usually associate a European name with this face.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, okay.
And he didn't associate Wong with your face either.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
I mean, I told him I'm Filipino. I'm not Chinese. So it's kind of we want to be specific.
Well, but I'm saying but a lot of white directors they'll associate whatever they want to associate with said face and whatever the hell's going on in the scene. It's like,
I've heard that.
Right.
But Will,
he was
to
like
his
finding a new
credit-
name.
Yeah, finding a name. So I was like, all right, well, what can I do here? I want to find something that, since I'm used to having a European last name, if I can have a character that has a European last name and has this face, then I can be like, okay, this character is an example of me on film.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, we'll find a last name for this. And I was going through like, not a Rolodex, a literal Rolodex, but like, okay, what last names do I know that are European that I can use? And it's like, okay, let's change his last name. And maybe this is just me like wanting to make an unpronounceable last name use it again, because my last name is always mispronounced. So
Seems like a pretty
it depends.
pronounceable name.
It can be. I get Gaelic, I get Galick, I get garlic, I get
Goodness.
Galick.
Galick.
I'm tempted.
Alex
to,
Galick. That's nasty.
I don't know. I'm tempted to just like misspell it and see what happens. But yeah, I ended up deciding on having his last name be Wornitz. Wornitz, spelt unusually, Woroniczz.
Okay.
Polish last name. There's a great actor.
I'm sure there's many hockey players out there that are thanking you right now. Yeah.
So I know this actor named Henry Wornitz.
Yeah.
Fantastic dude.
Okay.
Was the artistic director of the Oregon Shakespeare Festival for a long time, and had the chance to be directed by him and act along with him in some Shakespeare festivals. So I was like, that's a cool last name.
And is it a Slovak last name?
It is a Polish
last name. So this guy, okay.
There's a little bit. It's not necessarily Slovak,
Okay.
but they are neighbors, Slovakia and Poland. So there's yeah.
You said you were playing a salesman, and you said it was perfect because you work in sales, and then you're jumping into. Is there ever a point? I mean, like, do you want to get out of sales and like live the dream and just ride the lightning? Like just let's go. Let's act full time and get it going.
Well, it's funny you should bring that up. Acting is sales.
Oh, really? How so?
I mean, we're selling ourselves.
You're getting deep now, man.
We as actors are in what monopolistic competition with other actors.
Okay.
For the most part, we all have the same tools that other actors have.
Yeah.
And decisions are made on marginal information, marginal attributes, right?
Yeah.
What kind of training you have, how you look, how tall you are,
Yeah.
what your age, race, sex, gender identity
Yeah.
is. Those are things that are then used in the casting process.
Yeah.
And then, of course, individual, the choice of the director.
Yeah.
As actors, we deal with a lot of gatekeepers.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And what is sales if not convincing gatekeepers to agree with you?
Yeah.
Right?
And I think that's an interesting way of bringing it up.
So a lot of the skills that I bring to sales, I'm using as as an actor. So it's like,
Do you give them your real name
There's-
at your job?
I
Is
do.
is that what you do?
Yeah.
You show up as Randy Worowitz. Right? I'm here to sell. I don't know what you sell, but I mean, like, but you basically you have to persuade.
Persuade.
People, yeah.
So you go into an audition, you have a headshot and resume. That's all stuff to say, hey, this product that I'm selling, my labor, my ability to help you create a product that you can sell to an audience is going to be useful to you.
It can sell the story.
I can sell the story.
It's interesting because in film, like, not only are you selling the story on camera, but when you're off camera on set, you have to sell yourself as a classy person. Like, that's one thing I figured out real quick.
Got to be easy to work with.
Yes, you get easy. That's a great.
Yeah.
He's really easy to work with. Yeah. Or it's God. There's some things that are like out of your control. Sometimes, like, I have my father's face, and if I'm not, and like this recent upsurge of like black people getting like arrested for minding their own business or just not, they didn't say hi to me. They didn't acknowledge me when I waved, so I called the cops. But like this idea of like, when I'm on a film set, I'm like, hey man, hey, how's it going? Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm not like buttering it up all the time, but I'm still selling something. I find myself doing that. Like the second you walk into that waiting room, like it's interesting because you'll be on the elevator to JR, be on the elevator with an actor. So get in that waiting room. Hey, how's it going? All right. Get back in the elevator. Jesus Christ, what are we auditioning for? What was that even? They just took pictures of my damn. Like, it's like you sell as soon as you walk through that door. When you get out, it's just like the act is up, which I find kind of interesting.
I mean, maybe, but like there are actors like Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Who I hear he's an amazingly low maintenance actor to work with.
Yeah.
And say what you will about his acting chops.
Yeah.
He apparently the crews and the cast that he worked with all have agreeable things to say about him.
Yeah.
And that has helped him
Yeah.
quite a bit, or at least it hasn't closed any doors for him.
Yeah.
So
There's those blog posts you see where, like at the bottom it has like clickbait. It's like, why Hollywood won't work with so and so anymore. And I'm like,
I've seen
I just
those.
saw them on USA. They're Blockbuster from 2002.
It's
God,
totally
they haven't had a
clickbait.
film yet. Yeah, being easy to work with is like that's the thing. Is it tough to be easy to work with when you're working with people that are kind of like pushing you to the edge? Have you ever had that before?
Pushing you to the edge, like
Like, you ever felt tested like on a film set or a theater production where you're
where someone's
man,
like in
people are like
in
yelling at
competition
me?
with you for some reason,
or you're getting yelled at by a director, like ego may be involved.
I mean, not too bad. No, I for the most part, I've been very lucky.
Okay.
My guess is that it cuts both ways, right? If you are a director or a crew member, or who is disagreeable to work with, people don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
So I think all around, people want to work with agreeable people, and that's not just for our acting, for our career path.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more so because in our specific industry, because there's this assumption that anyone can act.
Well, they can, or I can find somebody else to replace you in one phone call. Yeah.
Exactly.
That is, yeah.
So, you don't hear stories about genius mathematicians who are like in fear for their careers.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they've got the market cornered.
Yeah.
And people know it.
Yeah.
It's not
Ooh, that's effed up. I never thought about it like that.
it's not it's not what you know or who you know. It's who knows what you know. Right?
Yo, that's a book title. When are you doing that? When are you gonna write it? When's it coming out?
That's not a quote from me. I heard it somewhere else, and I
Oh.
can't attribute it because
I'm sure
I
it's not
forgot.
trademarked, though.
But
Who knows
yeah,
what you know? Okay. Be very honest, was it an easy set to work on for the Racially Ambiguous Duo?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we've been working together
Yeah.
on it, off and on for a couple months beforehand.
Yeah.
We talked through it.
Yeah.
We wrote these scenes. We workshopped with the actors.
Yeah.
Like those are
Two or three times.
2 or 3 times, and those are all things that you don't usually get on
No.
set.
Yeah.
Like for this horror film that I did, it was basically like oh, we cast you. Here are the sides.
Yeah.
Be ready. You're gonna shoot these scenes on this day. Once you're there, you have like a quick chat with the director, and then you go.
Yeah.
And then they do all the different setups.
Yeah.
We had been in an ongoing conversation
Yeah.
about the project for a long time before that. Once
Yeah,
we got
true.
in, it was just like we know where we are, we know what's going on. We just do it.
Yeah.
The hardest part was probably me just running to my car,
Getting-
changing my clothes,
getting different,
and then
yeah.
coming back.
Jeez. And it was so hot. My God.
I'm just glad it wasn't raining.
Yeah, that'd have been bad. The AC being off because you gotta have sound working.
Yeah.
That was painful. For season 2 of Racially Ambiguous Duo, and I can talk at length for this. What is? I guess I'll backtrack a little bit. What is the empowerment been, or have you felt empowered at all to be able to just like have work out there like Racially Ambiguous Duo and be able to like click and be like, see, look at this, everybody.
Yeah. So, yeah, as an actor, we have to, because there's a idea that anyone can act,
Yeah.
that you have to prove that you are a professional, right? So having this work out there that I can just like send a link to people and be like, hey, this is something I worked on.
Yeah.
Look, here's a funny exchange we have about New Year's.
Yeah.
That's something I can just send to people. It's quick. It shows. It's got a witty repartee, and it shows that, one, I can learn my lines, and two, can play a character.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what people want to know.
And a lot for acting, it's
Right.
like, show me. What have you done? Show me.
What have
Prove
you
it.
done?
Prove it. And like when you do that, nobody's even really asking for the proof, but you're like, and you can show like professional grade shit and be like, check it out. I think that's pretty damn empowering, and also like it serves like the future work. Like I've had like people from like the big corporations in town after like certain auditions are like, saw the web series, man, liking it,
Yeah.
like it. But also I think, and this might sound a little strange. So most of the auditions I walk into, there's usually white directors or like a white think tank team. And then to produce, the thing that I always get when like some of these white directors see it, they're like, man, who's putting that together, man? Who's producing that? Like, oh, it was me. Like, oh, cool, man. But you see like the immediate thing in their face, they're like, they know they done fucked up. Like you wrote that? Like, it's such a weird exchange because it's like, do I lie to him and just let him be like comforted in his ignorance? Like it's a strange.
Like, does he feel scared that his job is somehow in danger because oh no, this was you? No,
People of color can operate cameras now? What? No, I think I definitely find that empowering to that extent because it's kind of strange, and it's not just so I can walk in auditions and be like, hey, I'm doing stuff too, but it's so people can see like your current body of work. Like, what are you doing right now? Like music, like you always have to have something going. Like if you don't got what you guys writing today? I don't know. Like music isn't like something you take a break from. It's like, you're constantly like, oh, I wrote this new song, got a show coming up, blah, 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 blah. With acting, it's like, what you got going on? Got to play. I support your work. Thank you. Like they don't have to see it. Nobody sees your shit.
I mean, that's the thing about theater, right? You have to get out of your house, drive in your car, you gotta get parking, you have to get a babysitter for the kids, and then you
Yeah.
go see it. If it's taped, it's a little easier to see it, but
Yeah.
it's not. Theater is not meant to be seen on a screen.
Yeah.
It's meant to be enjoyed live.
What do you think could engage people more into theater? Because for me, it's been an uphill battle where it's like engaging people in voting. Like it's for there's a certain demographic that like wants to come to theater plays, has the time, has the money.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I went to see a play at the Jungle Theater. Those tickets are $40, $40 to $60. I could go to a movie theater 3 times and like load myself up with popcorn.
I mean, not only that, Movie Pass, this new service, right? You pay $10, you can see all the movies you want
Exactly, yeah.
in a month.
Yeah, some of my friends.
How does theater compete with
Why would I
that?
pay $50 to come see you on the stage? Like, and already it's like I had a friend who wanted me to come see a play of hers at the Guthrie. It's one thing to go in. That it's strange already off the bat because there was like a black play there called Familiar, and I'm like walking and like there's like the ticket booth and then there's a ticket booth for her show, or you have to go to one of the ticket booths or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm passing the Familiar ticket booth and the woman's like, "Sir, sir," I was like, "Oh, can I get my ticket for Indecent here?" And she's like, "Oh, this is for Familiar." I was like, "So where's Indecent?" "Oh, it's down there." I was like, okay, all right. I walk down to Indecent and I see like an African family show up to like Familiar, like to buy tickets, and I'm like, what the fuck? So that's one thing. Then two, the other thing you got to leapfrog. I get into the audience, and this is maybe my own like stigma here. It's like a lot of old white folks, and like you sitting next to them, like I'm feeling the elevator eyes. I'm getting checked, and some of them are really nice and they're doing okay. And then, but if I'm like, you pass by the seats like in a movie theater, and like some of the white women are like, like just like it's like the biggest burden, and like it's like, woman, like,
I mean, that's
so theater. It takes more than just like. I feel like movie theaters really like cater to. It's like, hey, you don't need to touch anybody or see anybody.
You can just have a communal experience with the screen.
Yeah,
for
we got
yourself.
these big seats.
Yeah.
Dolby surround.
You
can
lay
just
down.
cut the world out. Yeah.
It's heated. You can order popcorn to be brought to your chair.
Exactly. Yeah.
We sell booze now. All that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, some theaters sell booze. I guess they don't really have that comfy seats.
No.
But theater, older, wider audience. How do you get a younger, more diverse audience to get in the theater when you have to compete with YouTube?
Yeah.
And our parents and our grandparents had to deal with movies, and then the advent of television.
Yeah.
Streaming TV, streaming shows.
Well, I think where you start is like slam poetry. Like if you go to a poetry slam, you will see young people in the audience want to support their friends and other who are writers to watch people slam, which is a form of theater. You're getting up on stage, you're performing lines, scripted, memorized lines to an audience. In a sense, you're putting on a character, you're taking on a voice. But I think that is a starting point. Like you galvanize people to write stories, and then like, oh, I want to go see so-and-so's play.
Yeah.
Or I want to see so-and-so's piece about whatever this may be. And then you start there. That's what I think.
And it has to be something that engages that audience, right?
Yes, because
like if you're talking about a more well-established theater with a more older, wider clientele, they're going to look at safer stuff.
Well, safer stuff for them.
Safer stuff for them. And that audience,
culturally,
which is going to be older stuff. It's going to be, if they have a lot of resources at their disposal, they're going to invest it in costumes and sets.
Yeah.
Because that spectacle can make even a mediocre performance look good, look better.
And I think what may be safe for a white audience could be extremely dangerous for people of color. Like To Kill a Mockingbird. Like if I have to see that thing one more time, I might, Yamo burn this place to the ground. Like it's the thing, what gets me is like, what audiences want to see to potentially affirm what they all already think the world is.
as opposed to something that challenges them.
Yeah. I don't think people want to be challenged.
I mean, especially if you're paying for a babysitter and you're driving there.
There's that.
Yeah.
I mean, in like, be realistic. Like, if you don't have to talk about race, and you're going to the theater, do I want to pay to see it? Do I want to pay to talk about it? No, I want to do that. But also, I think what is safe and what galvanizes these audiences is that, like, To Kill a Mockingbird or some of these, like, God, what did I call them in a blog post once? I called them, like, I forgot. But either way, they can go to those shows and then point at it and say, oh, there's the racism. It's not here with me, but it's enabling. It's enabling, and it says, "Oh, there was a time."
Is there a sense
not today, though,
of scapegoating, where you can feel you can feel good that we've delineated the bad thing and it's separate from yourself.
Yeah, like, look at those really bad white people. That's not me.
I don't do this.
So,
I don't do that.
Yeah, it categorizes racism as
that,
like Klan members and, like,
But the racism in like To Kill a Mockingbird is different from what we see now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Okay. I'm sure there's still the KKK is more in the news now.
Oh yeah, yes.
But, like, it's more insidious in that it's not about these overt acts of violence. It's not only about overt acts of violence. It's about opportunity. It's about doors that people don't even know are closed to them, right? Opportunities that simply don't exist for certain people.
Yeah.
It's not about, like, burning people's houses down and killing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
there's something discreetly more like embedded than that.
But something like that doesn't show up in the news because it's not spectacular enough to show on the evening news.
Yeah, and also I think racism comes. I mean, obviously it works in all forms, and like the most the highest functioning is the one you don't see or you don't know right away. But as we wrap this up, just to get a little bit more into what you do and who you are, how do you identify yourself? Like in theater, like do you ever think, okay, I'm gonna go into this as, I think it was Wing Young Huey who said, artists of color are forever going to be seen through the prism of race before they're seen as artists. And so therefore we have an accountability and a responsibility to, not accountability or responsibility, but we have that burden at all times. Do you ever, how do you approach certain scripts or projects? Do you approach it as, I'm just Alex Galick coming in to fill this space? Or do you say, all right, Filipino, Slovakian, Italian? Do you think about your ethnicity going into it?
I mean, my ethnicity is a part of me, right? But I also have to make a character alive.
Yeah.
I have to bring something that is, ink on a page, and make it something that an audience can watch.
Yeah.
It depends on the situation. Depends on the project, right? If I can, bring a personal experience to a project, then that'll be a way for me to personalize that. Race, because I'm mixed race, I think it makes it even more difficult to answer that question. Because as a person of mixed race, I don't really feel that I fit in any specific sort of racial classification.
Yeah.
My mom is Filipino, but I don't feel I don't think I feel as strong a connection to being Filipino as some of my friends who are full Filipino. Right? And my dad he's from New Jersey.
Only the strong survive.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I grew up here in the Midwest, and all our family is, on the East Coast or in the Philippines or somewhere else, and so it's. I'm not sure how to answer that because I feel that my own identity is strangely enough kind of fluid in a way, racially, because race is it's where you come from culturally, right?
Yeah.
It's the influences on your identity, but it's also how people perceive you.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely is.
And
Also,
how you choose to and are forced to, in some instances, to navigate the world, and people's perceptions will in a way shape how you do that.
well, yeah, and literally in 2020, you'll have to check off a box of what you are.
Yeah.
At that point, so.
So if when so
I'm sure they won't have Italian and Slovakian on there,
Well-
but I'm damn sure they'll have something for Filipino.
God willing,
They got a
yeah.
box waiting for you, brother. To wrap this up, are there any stories or scripts, and I know that we'll have you back here on Urban Home Content, but are there any stories or scripts that you've thought about, like, that you want to tell? Because I know that when we start, you put out a few scripts for Racially Ambiguous Duo that I was like, I don't know if we got the time to destroy the apartment, make it look like a time travel scenario just went down. But you had like a weird kind of like Black Mirror, Tales from the Crypt, Twilight Zone type of take on things.
Yeah.
Is there a story or a script that you've thought about, like that you're like, man, I want to make this someday?
I do want to make. It's funny you bring this up because like I like the way science fiction and horror and fantasy can kind of turn a situation on its head, or at least make more visible something that was already there but was unseen.
Yeah.
And I like that about those things. And I think the kind of work that I would like to make is something that reveals something that people might not know is there.
Okay.
With regards to Racially Ambiguous Duo, we're talking about, race, obviously.
Yeah, clearly.
And
Which, by the way, the comments were just striking. Like, because a lot of people, like, there was one episode where we filmed Racially Ambiguous Duo in July last year. It was very hot out. I was visibly tan. Like, I remember some
seeing
guy
these,
wrote
yeah.
underneath, he's like, that dude looked like he in blackface. And I was like, oh, God. Oh, jeez.
no.
The internet's unforgiving, and Instagram is even more unforgiving. And I was just like, this is a thing. We're here now. Because like you can't call something Racially Ambiguous Duo, put it on the internet and expect people to be like, this was a fine production. I have nothing else to say.
You're trying to evoke a reaction.
Oh yeah,
already.
Yeah, people are already reacting. There are definitely reactions.
Well, I think in a way that is a success.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because we have engaged a certain kind of conversation.
Yeah.
I think now the thing to do is to help guide that conversation.
Yes.
Right?
Season 2.
Season two. So in season 1, we were acknowledging that these stories exist, that these individuals exist, because I haven't seen these characters that look like us on screen.
Maybe Harold and Kumar, but that
Maybe,
one was kind of like, get it? They're brown. Like with this one, it's like, hey, I'm just trying to talk about booze and small T-shirts. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about race today. Which that episode isn't out yet, but that'll be coming soon.
So I think just having these two characters who are racially ambiguous, who are multiracial, engaging in the everyday experiences of everyday people, right?
Yeah.
Just acknowledging that these stories exist, these people exist, and they have stories that are worth putting on screen. I think, if nothing else, that is the victory of the first season. I am happy to have done that for that first season. I think for our second season, widening it out.
What?
Widening it out.
Yeah.
Telling a fuller story.
Yeah.
Right. We've had conversations about this.
Yeah.
Where we want to. Whereas the first season takes place in one location, we want to see what happens outside of the home,
Oh God, yeah.
right?
Many
And-
other different places.
And many other different places, and also how the outside life, the world outside this apartment, this home,
Reacts.
reacts and influences the home life.
Yeah.
These are individuals who, I guess at home, they can kind of air out their laundry together, but I want to see the experiences they're having that force them to have to air out their laundry at home.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. We'd like to see what's going on with them. And you were mentioning earlier about a story you were thinking of, or like the function of it revealing something that nobody saw was there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, putting that on screen, getting those stories that I haven't seen
Yeah.
on screen yet, and acknowledging that those are stories worthy to tell.
Mhm.
So the work life, the perception of these individuals in the world, and how they have to navigate that perception that may not always jive with their stated identity, with the way they see themselves, right?
Yeah.
It's frustrating to be like, I am this, and people saying, no, you're this. No, you're this other thing.
Yeah.
Wait.
When you were saying race is culture, it's where you're from. I was going to interject and be like, what white people think you are? Yes. Or whatever you can audition for.
Yeah, yeah. So those are things that I think, I feel like Racially Ambiguous Duo is for a multiracial audience. It's for people like us, but it's also for white people,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
to
absolutely.
see and be able to see what people of color and people of mixed race deal with, and hopefully build a sense of, I don't know, empathy or understanding.
Yeah.
To at least know something about that story.
Yeah.
And I think that will help in our own way. That helps us move our society forward.
Yeah. No, I agree. And if you ever do make a film, is it going to be sci-fi? Is it going to
Yeah, probably.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today, man, and look forward to having you back on and kicking it and working with you again. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, man.
And I love that we met each other in waiting rooms for like auditions, and then out blossomed a project far beyond what we could have ever auditioned for in those rooms.
It's amazing what waiting rooms for auditions will eventually create.
Exactly. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah.